Today we're taking a look at one of the most dangerous watches that I have ever featured here on my channel. And I say it's dangerous because it looks so much like a Richard Mille. Now that could be a very good thing, however it could also be a very bad thing because Richard Milles are a target for theft. This is such a high quality homage to Richard Mille that it feels almost as good as an original Richard Mille in hand. And I have one to show you guys. It is a really good looking watch. If you like Richard Mille, you're going to love Kronos Art. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a watch that could get you in a lot of trouble, the Kronos Art chronograph. So all joking aside about this being a dangerous watch, this is actually a really nicely made watch. I was blown away by the quality here. The case, the feel of the case, it just feels like something very well made. It's the carbon series, so this gets a carbon fiber case. I'm not sure if the entire case is carbon. It feels pretty heavy, very substantial for carbon, but at the same time it kind of feels light for the size of the watch. So it's somewhere in between. So it could be made with maybe a carbon core, and then this is a carbon fiber plate. I'm not sure how it works, but I have to say it feels really nice in hand. And then you have this beautiful curved sapphire crystal, as you can see, and you're getting an automatic movement inside here. It's an automatic chronograph with a column wheel. So this gets a column wheel, and I'll show you pictures of that and video of it. That's pretty impressive at this price point. You have a sapphire dial. So the front of the watch is a sapphire dial. So you have that curved sapphire crystal, some custom screws that hold everything together. And then below that chapter ring where the indices are, those are Lume. We'll do a Lume shot. You get a sapphire dial. I believe it is sapphire. I couldn't find that information, but they've tried to use some high-grade materials, so I would imagine that is also sapphire or maybe something like a mineral glass. The dial, though, has printed on the indices, and the indices are in blue and orange, half blue and half orange. It doesn't really help with legibility, but it does look really cool. And you have a blue chaptering that matches the blue that's in those indices as well. The hands have Lume in them, so there's a little bit of Lume on the hours and minutes hand. The second hand I don't believe is Lume, but there is a few of the sub-registers with hands that are Lume. So you have sort of a propeller hand on the 9 o'clock register. I believe that is Lumed. I'm not sure if the running seconds at the 6 o'clock is Lume, but we will do a Lume shot towards the end of the video. The entire movement is skeletonized. So from the front with that sapphire crystal, you could see almost everything is skeletonized, and it looks really good. When you flip it over and you open up the strap here and you look at that movement, it's all darkened. And the entire thing is skeletonized. All the bridges are skeletonized. That rotor is skeletonized. It looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. Obviously, this is a homage to Richard Mille, so it makes a lot of sense because those are very expensive watches. But they've gone the extra mile to make this somewhat special, in my opinion. And you have a flat sapphire crystal on the back. You have a very large crown. Again, that is, I believe, made out of carbon, and it is rubberized. So you have a rubberized ring on the crown, and it is very large and easy to wind, as you can see. And then you have these pushers. The pushers are kind of cool as well. So the pushers have little buttons, but the buttons are on the inside. The pushers themselves, the entire pushers, aren't really pushers. So what they've done is there's like sort of a guard to the pusher on the outside of each one of the pushers. So it's not easy to just push them. I think they did that for security purposes, so it's not something that you could just press. That looks good, and it feels good, and it works well. So when you just press this button right here, you stop that chronograph, and it flies back. This is a tonneau shaped case, obviously, so the measurements on here are a little bit weird because it's a weirdly shaped watch. So this will wear larger than its dimensions. So 41 millimeters is what it measures at. It has a 10 millimeter crown, so it's a very large crown, and a 14 millimeter thickness. That's including that sapphire crystal. Lug to lug is around 50 millimeters. It really wears bigger than that because you have a rubber strap that molds to the case and actually fits directly into the case. So it does not fold down, and it will wear sort of like a cuff. And I'll show it to you on my wrist in just a few seconds. You also have a clasp on here that has Chronosart right there, the name of the brand, and it's a dual button, push button enclosure, which works really nicely. And again, feels really nicely made. On my wrist today, I have a very cool watch. This is the Perle Lab Series peripheral rotor on a bracelet. And this is one of the only ones in the United States right now with a bracelet. I just recently got this, and they only just started offering this on a bracelet. Really cool watch with a really cool movement. Video for this dropping pretty soon. And there is the Chronosart on my 7.5 inch wrist. I mean, it looks a lot like a Richard Mille. It feels and looks and wears like a Richard Mille, in my opinion. And I think it just is cool. I think it's a really cool watch that if you're okay with wearing a Richard Mille or something that looks like a Richard Mille, there aren't a lot of brands out there that pull it off as well as this brand. And you're getting a pretty cool movement inside. I think the movement inside this watch is something that you don't see every day in a Homage watch like this. Very cool, and again, it fits well, it's very comfortable, it wears like a Richard Mille, which wear comfortable and look really good on wrist. Obviously, you are wearing something that looks like a Richard Mille, so you do need to be careful because they are very expensive, and you don't want this to be mistaken for a watch that is, you know, in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. So just always keep that in mind. But other than that, I have a 7.5 inch wrist. This is 41 millimeters, 10 millimeter crown. I have to mention that again. 14 millimeter thickness, and the lug to lug is around 55 millimeters, including the strap. It measures at the case at around 50 millimeters. So 40 millimeters by 50 millimeters, but it definitely wears larger than that. I would say this wears like a 44 or 45 millimeter watch in general because of that lug to lug and the thickness. Well, there you go. It's actually decently loomed. So all of the indices are loomed, and then you have the hours, minutes, hands loomed, the running chronograph seconds and the chronograph seconds down at the 6 o'clock position. Those are all loomed. They are not liberally applied with lume, so the seconds hands aren't very liberally applied with lume, so obviously they fade a little bit quickly and you will not be able to see that your watch is working in the dark. You know, that's just my own thing, so I don't think that's a huge deal for this watch because you're not wearing this for legibility, you're wearing it for the style of the watch. It's not an incredibly legible watch to begin with, so just keep that in mind. Price on this is $1,250 if you get it without the carbon fiber texturing on the bezel. If you want that, then it's around $1,450, which I think is the only difference is that one is on sale currently and the other is not. So one does get it and one doesn't, and there's a $200 difference. Honestly, I don't think it makes all that much of a difference, but if you really like it, I would splurge and get that extra texturing, which looks really good. And obviously it's carbon fiber either way, or carbon and carbon fiber. So there's a difference there. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. I will add a link to this watch down in the description. Definitely check out their website. They make some pretty cool watches. They make some sapphire watches as well, and other materials. So really cool watches that they're making. Obviously all homages of higher end watches, but very, very cool watches. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments section below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.